Today we're at Mathewsons at the Pickering site. We'll look at some of the lots in the April auction. There's one or two cars that I got my eye on myself. I'll mention in the comments if you can guess which ones they are. Hopefully this might be the story of a new car journey for me. But yeah, wish me luck. We're going to go in, check in at reception and see what we see. And the first thing to note, just out of courtesy to Mathewsons, the viewing periods are open to people who are intending to view lots in the auction and not to visitors who have just come for a general look around. It's understandable. With the popularity of the TV show, I'm sure they get hordes of tourists wanting to have a general look round, and they just don't have the room to do that. You can see how closely parked the cars are, and they just don't have room to deal with the additional numbers. And the first impression when you enter the building is just the sheer variety of cars on offer, literally from Ferraris to Austin Allegros and Bentleys to MGBs. And there was good availability across age ranges too, with, for example, MGs available from the late 1940s through to the early 2000s. One of the first cars to catch my eye was this absolutely beautiful 1962 Triumph TR3. And that saw a hammer price on the day of $11,750. And it was while filming this MGTF that I was caught by the film crew from the Bangers Cash TV series. I'm here filming him, filming me. So the big question now is, will I make the show or just hit the cutting room floor? There were several TR7s on sale. This 1981 car, labelled as a TR8 and has a V8 engine, I suspect it's most likely to be a TR7 converted. But if you're more knowledgeable about TR7s than me, then do let me know if I've got that wrong in the comments below. And this was an interesting car, built in 1975. It's said to be the oldest surviving UK market TR7. Has a very rare 16-valve engine and was originally supplied to the British Leyland Marketing Services team for use as an official press and reconnaissance car. It was subsequently converted to a race car and raced with the Triumph Register and the Historic Sports Car Club, the HSCC, and in 2006 it was re-prepared as a rally car and has been used for historic road rallies. But of course the big sale in the TR7s that got the internet alight was this yellow example, which was Lance's car in the TV series The Detectorists. And that sold for an amazing £30,200 plus auction fees. I thought this was an interesting looking car. This is a Zephyr 6. It's described as not for sale yet, so presumably it'll be a lot in a future auction. And this lovely MG looked like it was something to look out for in the future. It wasn't in this auction, but it looked like it would be a lot in an upcoming auction. And it's often the case at Mathewsons there was a good selection of classic and vintage tractors available, and really this was an absolutely brilliant example of a Ferguson T20 from 1951, complete with the banana loader, as it's often called, officially called a high lift loader. Really iconic look and in really great condition. This was an immaculate, absolutely immaculate Carman gear from 1965. Superb condition, and that sold at a hammer price of $15,000. And justifiably in this prime presentation site right outside reception was this stunning 1976 Saab with a V4 engine. It's been the subject of an extensive restoration by North Yorkshire Classic Car Workshop on behalf of the Bangers and Cash team as part of their Restoring Classics TV series. If you've seen the Restoring Classics show, you'll know that the Bangers and Cash team spent a lot of money on this car. But I'm not going to reveal just how much, but watch out for this in the next series because it is quite a story. The hammer price was justifiably high at $22,750, and yes, they still lost money on it. Now this was a bit of a rarity, an Opel GT, a 1970 car, left-hand drive, American import, I believe based on components from the Opel Kadett B. Certainly not seen one before, and yeah, quite an unusual thing I think in this country. Let me know if you've seen one. Now, this was an interesting pair of cars sitting next to each other. The GT6, a Mark III version, actually produced in the last year of GT6 production in 1973. Essentially a GT version of the Spitfire with the Triumph Vitesse six-cylinder engine. It's been in the same ownership since 1981. It looked like a good basis for a project, if nothing else. And next to it, this lovely Ford Anglia. And there was something about this car that just looked right, exactly how it is. And far be it from me to tell the new owners what they should do with it, but you know, if I bought it, I'd be trying to maintain that patina, make it mechanically safe and reliable and so on. But wow, what a car. I really, really like that one. And if you're the new owner, why not get in touch? Maybe we'll feature the work that you do on the car in the future. This pair of recovery trucks looked interesting. The 1973 Transit didn't make reserve. It was estimated at 15 to 18. I think it reached just over 11, maybe 11,200. The Bedford, on the other hand, this 1987 model, sold for 3,200, which to me looked like quite a buy. I think that was good value. Now this was a real head turner, a 1936 Austin 7 van, apparently originally used as a milk delivery van around Shrewsbury, and it even came with a free milk crate with milk bottles. And during the auction it was mentioned it was to be seen on TV, so I assume this is going to feature in Bangers and Cash at some point in the next series. This little 1959 three-wheeler Berkeley caught my eye as well. If only I had more garage space and time, then honestly I'd be tempted by this one. I just really like these cars. They were produced between 1956 and 1960 in Biggleswade in the UK, and described as sporting microcars, motorcycle-derived engines. And overall, between the three and four wheelers, the company produced over 4,000 cars. I believe they were taken down because one of the partners in the business was part of the business, one of the two, was a caravan manufacturer, and it was that side of the business that actually took the company into receivership. This one didn't quite make its reserve, but has gone into a timed auction, and we'll make a note in the comments and the description as a follow-up to see if that goes in that timed auction. What a lovely little thing. Quite a lot of work, but it will make a really nice car, I think. And just along from the Berkeley was this lovely Westfield 11, obviously a replica of the Lotus 11 built on MG Midget mechanicals. This particular one seemed to have a strong history on the Midlands hill climb and sprinting circuit, as indicated by these scrutineering tickets that are collected on the car itself. Lovely looking thing, and I think I would agree with Derek Mathewson on this one. I wouldn't call this a kit car, I would definitely call it a special. Interesting to see Volvo estates nudging into classic status. I've got a confession to make. I've got one rotting on my drive, and one day maybe I'll make a video about the backstory on that particular one. But isn't it great that the classic car scene can go from Volvo estates to the Model T Ford, all in the same building and all in the same auction? Now, I will confess that one of the lots that I was interested in looking at was this auto barrow, although it turned out to be not quite suitable for what I had in mind. Do you remember that question right at the start of the video? What cars did I come here to see? What was I potentially going to bid on? Let me know in the comments. And of course, although I spent most of my time at the main Pickering site to view lots, I couldn't resist popping down the road to Thornton-le-Dale to see the original Mathewsons site that's made so famous by the Bangers and Cash TV programme, including Thornton-le-Dale Village Hall, which was the original location for the auction events. They do currently have an interesting display and a gift shop in the original premises, and I'm sure this is a bit of a tourist trap for visitors to Thornton-le-Dale and get their photographs taken next to the Mathewson site that's seen so often on television. And there's a couple of cars and some memorabilia items on display alongside the gift shop. And of course the inevitable merchandise, including Derek's Tipple, brewed in Harrogate by Daleside Brewery and tried and tested in Thornton-le-Dale.
The cost of living crisis has made their situation even more challenging.
And although the main auction site is now in Pickering, there are still lots on display at the Thornton-le-Dale site. In fact, I think they have so many cars in their auctions now that they're already short of space, despite the expanded site in Pickering. And of course, Thornton-le-Dale contains a lot of the buildings that are so familiar from TV. And a walk around the side of the site also brought a glimpse of this 1964 Bedford K-Type, which was sold at the April auction. And just a quick mention that the next two videos on the channel take us first of all to Cadwell Park in sometimes challenging conditions.
There's one phrase you have to remember when it's like this: motor racing is glamorous.
And then on to Water's Edge Country Park for the Classic Car Day organised by the North Lincolnshire Morris Miners Owners Club, but with a selection of cars that is as broad as you could possibly imagine. So a good look around the cars there and a chat with one or two of the owners. Both of those videos will be on the channel very shortly. So I hope you enjoyed that roundup of the auction. I've done my best to make sure that all of the information in the video is absolutely accurate, but if you do want to double check the hammer prices, then do check the appropriate auction sites online to get the official figures. And don't forget to make a comment below on the kind of car that you think I might have been looking for at the auction, and actually continue to look for, because there was nothing that particularly seemed right for me on this particular auction. So I'll hopefully be back at the June auction at Mathewsons, unless I come across the right car in the meantime. But do let me know what you think I'm looking for. I'd be interested to see your comments.